it's Veronica. In this video, I'm making a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year pop-up card. Just a heads up, I'm starting out with a list of materials today, then I'm going over the pieces I'm making and their measurements in case you want to get out of here quickly, and then I'll be going over the detailed creation process, starting with the base of the card. For my project, I'm going to be using two 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of cardstock, which I'll be using for the base of the card, some other colored cardstocks and printed papers, craft glue, I like rubber cement, gel pens and regular pens, scissors, and a craft knife. The craft knife isn't a need to have, but it is a nice to have. Now a quick shot of all the pieces I'm going to be making today and their measurements. You can use this information to gather your supplies, or you can pause here and just wing the rest of the project if you want. First, I'm going to be starting with how to create the base of the card. I'm going to grab one of my 8.5 by 11 inch pieces of cardstock that I have folded in half already. And then I have this 5 by 7.5 inch piece of background paper that I cut. And I'm going to glue that to the inside of the card. I'll let that dry for a minute. Now that it's dry, I'm going to make some marks. I'm going to fold it closed. I'm going to measure 2 inches in and make a 5/8 inch mark. And then I'll do the same on the other side. And then 1 inch in from those marks, I'm going to make a 1 1/8 inch mark. Now I'll cut my marks. Then I'll prime the folds. And you'll see I'm just bending these 3 pieces. Now I'll open this up and fold these pieces to the inside of the card. When you're done with those steps, it'll look about like this. And I'm going to set this aside for now. For my Christmas tree stencil, I have a 4 by 4 inch piece of cardstock. I'm going to make a 1/4 inch line for the trunk of the tree. And then I'll center it and connect these lines. This is going to give me a basic Christmas tree shape I can work with. For my Christmas tree, I'm measuring down a 1/2 inch on the top tier, and then I'm adding an 1/8 inch for each tier below it. So I'll do a 1/2, and then a 5/8 inch below that, and then a 3/4 below that, and then a 7/8. And I'm going to eyeball this part. It might be a little lopsided, but it's part of the charm. Now I'm going to make my trunk 1 inch wide, so I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch on each side. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my stencil. It is 4 inches wide and about 3.5 inches tall. It doesn't need to be exact. I grabbed the other 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock for the base of the card, and I folded that in half. I'm going to find the center and center the tree before I trace it. Now, I'm not going to see this part of the card, so I can make whatever marks I want. I'm going to leave a little room at the top, and then I'll go ahead and trace this Christmas tree. Now that I've traced the Christmas tree, I'm going to add the window for the Merry Christmas writing on the front. I'm starting with a line a 1/2 inch up from the bottom of the page, then another line 5/8 of an inch up from that line. I want my window to be 5 inches wide, and since the trunk of my tree is 1 inch wide, I'm just going to measure 2 inches over from that on either side. I'm going to mark there. Now I'm using a craft knife to cut out my tracings. When I'm cutting with the craft knife, I'm starting with the tip of the knife at the outer edge of the tracings and then drawing the knife inward so that any stray marks are made on the inside of the tracing because I'm getting rid of that anyway. And that's the front of the card. I just cut out a piece of cardstock that's 5 1/4 by 6 inches, and I'm going to glue this insert to the inside of the front of the card. You can be a little sloppy. And this is what it'll look like when it's done drying. Now I'm going to glue together the inside and the outside of the card. Now that the base of the card is ready, I'm going to start on all the Happy New Year pieces for the inside. For the Happy New Year banner, I cut a piece of cardstock that's 4 inches by 5/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to write "and Happy New Year" on there. Next up, I'm going to be making my fireworks. I'm not very good at freehanding, so I grabbed this piece of scrap cardstock. It measures about 3 by 5 inches, and I'm going to make a firework pattern on this and then make my fireworks from that. Here I have a strip of cardstock that's 3/8 of an inch by 3 1/4 inch. Just going to trace that a few times to make my fireworks. And now I'm tracing 2 of these fireworks. I'm using silver gel pen so I can see my marks on the paper. Now I'll flip these over to hide the tracing marks and decorate them with gel pens. And finally, coming into the home stretch, I'm going to be making my cityscape. This piece of cardstock measures about 3 1/2 by 6 inches, but it doesn't need to be exact. And I'm going to be drawing my cityscape on there with a silver gel pen again so I can see it. And now I'm cutting out the cityscape, and this is where the craft knife really comes in handy. I'm going to draw some windows on the buildings. And because the gel pen is just sparkly ink, the windows will have this cool effect where when the card is tilted, then you'll be able to see the windows. And if you don't like the outlines on the top of the drawing, you can just flip it over and do it that way. I just like them because they look good against the dark background. And now it's finally time to assemble the card and add some final details. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. Then I'm going to let everything set for a few minutes. Okay, that was a long journey, but now that the glue is dry, the card is almost ready. All that's left is adding a little bit of detail to the front. Okay, I outlined the Christmas tree and the Merry Christmas window with sparkly blue gel pen. If you're wondering what happened with this Merry Christmas, I forgot what I was doing halfway through, but I think I saved it with the star above the eye. Now I'm going to draw some snowflakes. Alright, and this is the finished card. It's got character, it's got charm, and best of all, it's got lots of sparkles. And of course, there's plenty of room down here to write your sentiments. The card is a little chunky when it's folded, but the good thing is that it fits perfectly. I got these half-page size envelopes, and it fits just right in there. So, just a heads up on that. I hope you enjoyed going through this project with me. If you have any ideas or questions, just let me know below. And if you want to subscribe to my channel Craft Review, I would love to have you. Thank you for visiting. Bye.